Hi, my name is Amy, and I am here to talk to you a little bit about my journey through infertility. The fact is, 1 in 8 couples is affected by infertility, yet it seems like nobody talks about it. So when you're going through it, it can feel really, really lonely. So I just wanted to share my story in hopes that if you are going through infertility right now, you will know that you are not alone. There are people who are still going through it right now. There are success stories out there, and there's a community of people who would love to welcome you and be there for you as well. So my husband and I got married. We wanted to wait a couple years before we started a family, but about 2 years in, we stopped birth control and decided we wanted to have a baby. So we started trying, and my periods were really irregular. I would have one and then not one for a couple of months, and then maybe I'd have 2 in 1 month. So I tried tracking my ovulation, but I never seemed to be ovulating. So when I went to my doctor about a year in, he started me on a drug called Clomid. When he did the blood work, even with the Clomid, I still didn't seem to be ovulating. So he sent me to a specialist, a reproductive endocrinologist, who did a lot more testing and diagnosed me with PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. And there's a lot of side effects that go with that, but one of the big ones is that you don't ovulate regularly on your own. So he let me try a couple more months of Clomid because I really wanted to get pregnant as naturally as possible. That was my goal. That just wasn't going to happen. So he recommended that we try IUI. So we got all the hormones and drugs going for that. When we went in for the scan, the ultrasound, to see, I had completely overstimulated. So I had produced too many follicles. So if I were to have the procedure, there was a distinct possibility that I could become the next octomom. So not really something that I or my doctor wanted for me or for us. So we decided to cancel the cycle. This unfortunately kept happening. And so we would try a cycle, have to be off for a month in between, have it canceled. We were able to try it a couple times. Both times were unsuccessful. And it was just a lot of waiting, a lot of emotional ups and downs. It was a roller coaster, guys. And it was really hard because it seemed like everybody around me was getting pregnant with ease. And here I was going to the doctor every few days for blood tests and on all these hormones, and it was crazy. So after a while of trying IUI, my doctor said, you know what, your only option is IVF. And I fought it for a little bit, but decided, you know what, we really want a family. And so we went ahead and got ready for the retrieval, where they go in and take the eggs. So that, y'all, it is a lot of hormones. Crazy amount of shots and pills, and I can't even remember what all. But got in, and we were so blessed. They got a really good number of eggs, and they were able to be fertilized, and we had some embryos. But in the midst of all of that, I got sick. I got so swollen, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was really sick, and turns out I had ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome from all the drugs and the hormones and everything from the retrieval. So a little bit more, a few more shots, you know, at this point, no big deal. This time blood thinner shots to help reverse that. And then we had to wait a couple months until we could do a frozen embryo transfer. So we were so excited. So it was September that we were going to do our frozen embryo transfer. We decided to transfer 2 frozen embryos, and they didn't stick. It wasn't successful. So that was a big disappointment. It was actually a lot more disappointing than I expected it to be, because we lost 2 lives. We lost 2 embryos, and that was hard. So we had to wait 2 months to try again. This time it was the week of Thanksgiving. It was supposed to be that Monday. And leading up to it, you have ultrasounds to check everything, and they found that I had a blood clot in my uterus. So I am already all amped up on hormones and drugs and whatever else, ready to do this. And at the last minute, we had to cancel the procedure. So first one didn't work. Now we had to cancel this one. Here I am. It's the week of Thanksgiving, going to spend the holiday with family, and I'm trying to act like everything is fine. Y'all, everything was not fine. I was devastated. It turned out I wasn't going to be able to try again until February. That was, a really long time to have to wait. And here, it just seemed like this wasn't going to happen. I was distraught and hopeless. And it took the grace of God to get me up off of the floor and get to a couple support meetings. I found a group that I could talk to, some women who had been through it, and I was finally able to kind of make it through the next few months, and my husband was super supportive, which was great. I wouldn't have made it through without that. But that's when the frozen embryo transfer finally happened in February, and the 2 weeks later, dreaded 2-week wait. This time I got a phone call that I was pregnant with my daughter, Ava. She was born in October, and everything, it wasn't an uneventful pregnancy. There were some hiccups along the way, but we were so blessed to welcome her into our family in October of 2015. So then 2 years later, we decided we wanted to add more to our family, and so I went ahead and had another frozen embryo transferred 2 more embryos, and 2 weeks later we found out we were expecting twins. So in June of this last year, I had a beautiful boy and girl twins, and our family is complete. We are so happy, and I'm just so glad that I stuck with it, and that I found the hope to keep going. And through this, I realized that I hadn't put enough hope where it belonged. I hadn't put enough hope in God's hands and trusted Him that He would bring me through this. Through all of this, though, I am so grateful to Him that we have our beautiful family, and I've grown so much closer to Him through the whole process. So if you're going through infertility, please take heart. You are not alone. There is hope, and I am thinking about you. I am praying for you, and just know you're not alone. Thanks.